So, like, the first thing we want to talk about, I'm actually going to bring up the book, The Hiding Place by Corrie Ten Boon. And obviously, they were going through, like, the Nazi invasion and just the persecution of the Jewish people. And she, I don't know if you know a lot of her story, but she was
Mhm.
instrumental in hiding a lot of Jews and saving their lives during that time. And one of the stories that she shares in her book, I thought was really applicable to this. And it was a story about her and her dad. They regularly took a train ride together. And it was during that time that she would ask her dad, like, those really hard questions, the ones that she had been mulling over for a while.
Mhm.
And she used those opportunities to sit down with her dad, and she knew that he would always give her an honest answer. But what I thought was really cool about this is that he told her that he wasn't ready to give her an answer. But I'm going to read it to you real quick. So she had just asked him a really hard question. And it said, "He turned to look at me as he always did when answering a question, but to my surprise, he said nothing. At last, he stood up, lifted his traveling case from the rack over our heads, and set it on the floor. 'Will you carry it off the train, Corey?' he said. I stood up and tugged at it. It was crammed with watches and spare parts he had purchased that morning. 'It's too heavy,' I said. 'Yes,' he said, 'and it would be a pretty poor father who would ask his little girl to carry such a load. It's the same way, Corey, with knowledge. Some knowledge is too heavy for children. When you are older and stronger, you can bear it. For now, you must trust me to carry it for you.' And I was satisfied, more than satisfied, wonderfully at peace. There were answers to this and all my hard questions, for now I was content to leave them in my Father's keeping."
Wow, that's good.
And that's so good.
It
Like,
really
I
is.
mean, I get chills just reading that again because
Mhm.
as parents, we are the gatekeeper for our children, and he gave her an honest answer, and she
Yep.
knew that there was an answer to her hard question, but she also knew that the answer to it was safely with her father and that
Yep.
he would give it to her when the time was
Yeah,
right.
and she trusted him.
She trusted him, and so as parents, it is our duty to be the gatekeeper for our children. We
Yep.
can't let everything through the doors. Just they are not strong enough to bear the weight of that. And so it is our duty, like he said, it would be a poor father who would just like give this all to my daughter right now.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, we're dealing with so many things that children are being exposed to at such a young age,
Hmm.
and I mean, they aren't even prepared to almost tie their shoes, and they're
Yeah.
being be asked, or they're being asked to make decisions about just so many bizarre things. And I mean, obviously, we could go down through the list. I think anyone listening to this that are living in, first quarter, almost second quarter of 2023, you can think of a lot of things that our kids are being exposed to and inundated with. But these are heavy things,
Hmm.
and they are things that we as parents need to bear their burden and not let them be weighed down by these, quote unquote decisions they need to make
Right.
or things that they're exposed to. But at the same time, we don't have to let them be fearful and, questioning either. So
Right.
there's a fine line between just bearing all their burdens and not letting them make their own decisions and exposing them to an appropriate amount of certain things at the ages that really they're a little more equipped to be
Right.
exposed to.
Well, like Corey's father said, he said, when you are stronger,
Yep.
I will then give you that burden, to carry on your own. And so as parents, it is our job to basically work that muscle for our children, to
Hmm.
teach them incrementally how to grow stronger. Like, I'm not going to hand my 4-year-old 50-pound weights and say, "Hey, lift this."
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
she's going to
I
grow
mean, that would be impressive, but
that would be impressive. But
yeah.
no, we're gonna like if I am wanting to strengthen her, which we are not like saying that we're going to have our 4-year-old lifting weights, but her body needs
Yeah.
time
Yep.
to grow physically
Mhm.
and then even like muscularly. Like if I am wanting to get into better shape, I'm not going to go and grab 40-pound weights right now.
Yep.
I'm going to start with 10s, 15s, possibly 20s, like depending on where I'm at in my
Mhm.
fitness journey. But that's the same with just these heavy things that kids are having to carry right now and things that are burdensome and things that are fearful because they don't know how to process it. So as parents, we are the gatekeeper. We are the ones who are behind the lines, we're helping them to learn, to grow. We're teaching them how to think, how to process. And yeah, it's really cool.